Mira Business FM. The sound of success.
This is Mira Business FM. It's the morning drive with me, Tim Elliott. Now, next, what business leaders can learn from the stage, from improv, perhaps even as well. Here's a question. Are you leading with confidence, or are you just following the script? Change happens, nothing is certain, disruption is the norm. Leadership is no longer just about strategy, it's about adaptability, emotional intelligence, and the ability to think on your feet. That's what it says here. Let's find out if it's true. Joining us today to discuss these essential skills are two people who spend their time helping leaders innovate and embrace uncertainty. Kylie Schultz leads the Courtyard Playhouse's Corporate Academy, 15 years of working with global brands, bridging the worlds of theatre and business to help executives communicate with confidence, authenticity, and presence. Hello, Kylie.
Hello, Tim.
Nice to have you here. That's an
Thank you so
introduction. Your partner in crime is Salman, Qureshi, who is a lead corporate facilitator. No idea what that means, but I know what an actor and a comedian is, Salman.
Okay, good, yeah.
So I'm with you so far. Over a decade of HR and L&D experience across banking, oil and gas, and luxury sectors.
All the fun industries.
Improv, role play, creativity into corporate training. Good to have you here as well.
Thank you.
So where do I start with this? I've kind of structured this, but I'm going to start with you, Kylie, actually, because I need to ask you this. Why are theatre and improvisational skills relevant for today's business leaders? Let's start there.
I mean, I think the improvisation is just an amazing skill to have if you can do it successfully on stage. Not many people. It is an acquired skill. Not many people can do it.
Well, that's interesting. You say, you say it's an acquired skill, and I'm wondering, it's like the nature-nurture argument, isn't it? Can you acquire the skill to be improvisational, or is it something that, just quick thinkers have?
Very good question. I think some people do have it,
Right.
absolutely naturally.
But you can
But
learn
yeah,
it.
100%.
You just pointed at Salman there.
I mean, I think he was born with it, for sure.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's developed. I think everyone
Really?
can learn it. Yeah, but your time period to learn it can vary greatly.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say too. Yeah, some
I've seen people who we've seen people come in and take part, and for a long time, and maybe even a couple of years, where I'm like, all right, just keep trying, people.
Right.
But then it clicks. There's this moment of click you see in people happen, and then there's rapid growth. I think that's what's amazing about it. And
So
then,
what's that kind of click thing that happens?
think
When
it's-
does the penny
I mean,
drop?
it's different for every person. We've seen it through having other facilitators come through, other trainers come through, and then something for them just clicks in that
Yeah.
moment.
there's also the belief in it by yourself. There's one thing when people constantly tell you what to do, right? And you can go out and read books about how to be, and this is important, and practice this and whatnot. And I think that applies for anything. And then there's the embedding of it inside you to believe in it yourself. And the hardest part, if you're coaching someone, is when they go, I realized listening is so important on stage. And you go, yeah, I've been telling you that for 10 years now.
Listening is an important skill, full stop. And I often wonder if people just hear stuff and don't really listen to stuff, So, I guess if people listen to you, Kylie, they get the best of the experience, don't they? That's kind of natural.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think
Kylie specifically.
Yes, actually. But I mean, as trainers, that's what you want. As teachers, that's what you want. You want kids to listen when you're telling them stuff in a classroom, and the same for you in your classroom
I think with
environment.
leaders it is a bit different, or generally people once they're grown-ups, adults and stuff, because yes, you can kind of lead them to the water, but I think particularly they need to reflect and understand it, and then they take it on board. And I think that comes back to what we were saying, is some people take longer to actually accept it. If I tell you, go up and take some risks on stage, it's easy for me to say it, it's easy for you to understand why that will help you, but then you get on stage and you won't take the risks. You will go back to default of being safe up there, because there's a part of the values
You don't wanna
some
be-
kind of
You don't want to look like an idiot, do
Exactly.
you?
Yeah.
Particularly if you're an executive in front of, other executives, I guess. No, I can understand that. So you really need people to open up. But well, let me ask you this, Salman. How can you Can you explain how improv techniques help leaders make quicker decisions, better decisions, more confident decisions?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the easiest way sometimes I explain to people to understand this is putting aside all the jargon, is that in a typical improv workshop, to say, you will be coming in to build your muscles. And we do we're very practical. You're not sitting and listening to a lecture. You're up on your feet for the majority of the time and taking part in different exercises that we use. And so you constantly, it's repetition, it's building, and it's real-time feedback. So when, just for people who might not have watched something in improv, I'm asking you and me to jump up on stage and create something together, right?
Yeah.
And it's very hard to hide from the fact that this particular scene didn't work. All right, you can. You can lie to yourself, but it's very visible that we weren't connected. We didn't create something that felt meaningful or even made sense.
Right.
And so you can sit there and go, let's blame this person or the situation or the idea that came up. But in reality, because it's so fast and intense, you will build the muscle to go, hang on, I think this is what fell apart. I need to try this the next time I'm on stage with Salman and vice versa.
Okay.
So you're building that muscle constantly, and that's where the skill building actually happens in a truthful loop.
Yeah, the work is incredibly self-reflective. All the exercises that you go through, you're learning about how you engage with somebody right there in the moment, and then you're able to adapt and change.
It's heightened, isn't it? So we're taking you into our world where what you do as leaders or many other facets of work, and you're facing those situations in extremes. So quick decision making, you're now having to make it in split seconds with another person. If you're trying to collaborate with someone, you're doing it intensely in front of people who are watching you. So it heightens every single aspect of it. And from that, I think there's a lot more learning. You can't hide behind, I'm a good listener, for example. We were joking about listening. Because you catch people out immediately and go, well, actually you weren't, or you were trying to control that so much.
Yeah.
That's what's interesting. No, I mean, I've been through that in this job, and every now and again you get consultants come in, and they are paid to tear apart everything you've done. And I remember, 10 years ago, I was, maybe I was highlighted or spotlit for some reason, and the guy tore apart the first 10 minutes of a program and really brought us back to basics. But it was the greatest learning experience, because you think, that was pretty good, and it clearly wasn't. It was awful in every way, but I learned a lot from it. And I guess that's a very similar thing here. You can't hide from that.
No, but I think the difference would be, I think what works for us is that it doesn't
not tearing people apart.
It doesn't feel as horrific. Yeah, there's a lot of play involved in our work.
Sure.
I was going to say the same thing. I think the one thing that is really important to us and why it has such an impact is because it's fun. It's really
you
fun.
won't return business as well.
That doesn't hurt at all.
That's a good thing.
Yes, please.
Kylie, let me ask you. So, how on earth do you teach somebody to improvise? Where does it start?
I think there's kind of 3, maybe 4 key principles of improvisation. And one of them, like we were talking about already, is listening, is active listening.
Okay.
So we have a kind of our baseline program is called Yes and it's all about the improv fundamentals, which are active listening, connecting with the person in front of you, so collaboration, and the yes and mindset, which is building on each other's ideas. And that's very hard to do. Like, not many people can. We have a culture of yes, but, and not yes and. And then
Yes, and later.
Yeah.
With you. All right. Okay.
So, going back to just the key elements of how you interact with people and how you can successfully communicate with them through active listening and having ASN mindset and communicating effectively. That's at the core. That's what improv is all about.
Okay, Salman, what would you add to that?
I would stress, first of all, the yes and aspect of it, and it's not a very superficial level that we're talking about, to just say yes and try to carry on, but actually to understand and create a psychological safety with the other person.
Right.
To create a culture where your ideas are free flowing, we're not judging things too quickly, and so on and so forth. So that absolutely. And then there are level of exercises that we do bring into, when people walk in. Sometimes, and I think that's where we walk the talk, is when people come in, we do look at the participants and adjust exercises accordingly. So even if we're learning about this skill, I may not run the same exercises I thought I would, because I might look at them and go, okay, we need to kind of bring them in at this level, or this is what's actually happening within the group, and let's work on that instead. So there are more progressively difficult, challenging exercises that we can bring them into.
Okay, so let's take an example of, you have a workshop with, how many people would generally be in a workshop? Would it
About
be?
15, we have 15 is the maximum.
That's
That's
okay.
the maximum,
So
yeah.
you've got 15 people from, I don't know, one organisation or a particular sector, or could it be a real mix of people? It could be anything.
We get all
Yeah.
sorts.
all,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
kinds of people. Okay, and what they're all looking to do is to build skills. How does it go? So I'm part of this is it an audience? I don't know. It's
Participant.
But yeah, you'd be part of a
participant.
team.
I was going to say victim, but that's
Some people
We-
feel that way when they come in, but
Oh, yeah.
it says a lot about me, I think. All right, then, so I'm.
And we normally start with 15 people sitting there with their arms crossed.
Is
they
that how
get
it
brought
is?
into a theatre in the middle of a cruise and they're like, what have you got me into?
Really?
Yeah.
What
and
has the boss set me up with?
Exactly,
here? Right,
yeah.
okay, so what happens when you've got these 15 people in? How does the session go? How does it start, Kylie?
So we start the day, I mean, I always say this to our clients, the first 45 minutes is the most important part of the day because it's the icebreaker and where we introduce them into the concept of improv.
Right.
And as I said, they walk in absolutely terrified, not knowing what to expect. And so we have to have a slow start. We build it up as we go. Everybody's up on their feet, on the stage, all together, engaging in different drama, theatre exercises. So a lot of name games, things to just get them comfortable with using their bodies, using their voices.
Right.
So, getting comfortable with the practical nature of what we're going to get them to do. And then we slowly push them outside of their comfort zones. And then we start introducing the concept of improvisation and, some of the basic exercises to get them comfortable, to get their brains clicking, bringing them back to the basics. And then we build it on as we go along.
Okay, and what are the exercises of improvisation, Salman?
Well, it depends on the program, but general ones that I would do right at the start. There's one, and I hate using the word icebreakers because I think for me, it's beyond that. We do kind of kick off, and I'm trying to gauge where they are. So I'll tell you a very simple one I use that's quite fun to start with, and it's just learning names. And I get them into a big circle, and I ask everyone to just say their names around the circle, and we do it once, and then I repeat it, and people go, why are we doing this? And then they do it again, and then I go, could you introduce the person on your right? And half of the group goes, I'm sorry. They turn to their partner and they go, I'm sorry, what's your name again? And I think something like that really sets the tone of like, it's one thing to say that we know it's not rocket science, but then when we're there with our fears and thoughts and being in our heads, I missed what she said like twice now, or 3 times.
Yeah,
It doesn't
okay.
matter. Yeah. And I'll be honest enough to admit that even though I know I'm going to do it, there have been times when I forgot it. And I've gone, oh God, okay.
So I'm going to put.
Yeah.
What's my name?
Tim.
Good listening, Salman.
Oh, he did it. No, it's really interesting because I'm kind of, you're building up a really good mental picture now. So I'm seeing 15 executives around the stage, and the initial kind of awkwardness before that ice is broken, and the name thing is a really smart way to do it.
Yeah, and sorry.
Karen.
The other thing I'd add is they quickly realize it's not those places where they're being put on the spot solo. There's so much of our work that requires you to work in pairs or in groups. So they quickly realize it's very collaborative, and I'm learning by working with others, and we're all kind of failing together. So there's a mass.
Nothing like failing en masse.
Yes, yeah, and I think it does really, especially with executives and leaders. It's this moment where they go, oh yeah, I forgot how to play, and I forgot that there are times when I'm not being watched, and failures and going to cause huge issues.
I guess people forget how to interact in that way when they're at work, because work is not play, but work kind of is play in a lot of ways, because you're interacting with fellow colleagues and bosses and the minions in accounting, or however you see it. But it's very important.
What do
to
you have
see
against
it as-
accountants, Tim?
That's for another story. That's an off-air story. How does improv help executives strengthen emotional intelligence and adaptability, Kylie. What does it do for people, do you think?
Well, I think adaptability is key there. So many people are so rigid, and I think by nature, we as humans want to protect ourselves, so we want to control the environment all the time, and especially as leaders, you've got all the pressure on you, you've got so much responsibility, and all you want to do is you need to control this narrative, the team, the objectives, whatever it is. But what I think through our work, what you realize is being adaptable puts you in a much stronger position.
Yeah.
Because the world is, you need to be adaptable. The world is ever changing.
And can I, you said emotional intelligence. See, I was listening.
I feel like we're playing broadcast bingo here. I don't know,
Sorry, Tim. But I think what I wanted to add on top of that is if you do the work, when you do experience the exercises, because you realize you're working with someone else who has a separate idea, when you're doing it, you quickly realize that in order for us to succeed, and we don't have the luxury of stepping out and going back to the drawing table and going, let's do this and then come back. You have to kind of read each other in the moment, and I think that really creates a mindset of going, where do I think Tim wants to lead this as well, and how do I find a common path together? And there's this one. Sorry, are you?
I know. I was going to ask. Why don't you?
No, I'm not going to put you on the spot, but there's one exercise that I think really.
I'm up
Would
for
you?
it. I don't
do
feel on the
it.
spot at all. I'll
There's-
give it a go.
Oh, perfect. It's a very simple exercise.
Okay,
We ask
okay.
people to create stories together, and it's called word at a time, and it is exactly what it means. You and I will have to build sentences where on each turn we can only add one word on our turns, right? So and then we create sentences.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
So,
I'm down.
for example, if we started with once upon a time, we could see where it goes, and I would start with once
Upon
a
time
there
was
a
young,
lady,
called
Smitty,
who
loved
to
eat
horses.
one
Day
she.
cooked.
I'm gonna stop. I think that makes a good example of it. There were two moments.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how you felt about it. What was the frustrating thing for you in that?
Nothing frustrating in there. Just I wonder if, for the purposes of this, it's better to try and be slightly amusing. I don't know why I went for horses. That's wrong. I'd never eat a horse. But I wonder if you're in a situational stage with executives, it can be a little bit more serious than it needs to be.
If you played this longer, there would be moments where you'd realize when you said horse, I kind of went, oh, where do I go with this now?
Yeah.
And when I said lady, I saw this little Smithy. I saw this little glimmer of in your eye, going, what? Right?
I know. I just laughed at the name for some reason. I didn't expect it. Yeah, I guess that was the only frustrating.
And you admitted to something as well. We sometimes protect ourselves with humor, or we say something that wasn't obvious. And so this kind of exercise, it shows how much people will try to battle each other for control. If you play this longer, and I promise try it,
Right.
you will find people like literally telling each other what to say, or they'll slip in two words to get their point in quicker, and all sorts of ways.
It feels. It's interesting you say that because it feels almost competitive.
Yeah.
But it isn't. It's not competitive by nature, is it? Or
Our goal is to create
one story, one
It's
cohesive
just a
story.
story. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Together.
And that is a good example again of like you start off feeling I'm doing my bit and I'm competing and we coach people along with such exercise to go, okay, but let's focus on the story. Where's that going? And what do I need to do to work with you to create it? Yeah.
I like that. I feel like I've learned something.
Great.
do you ever, now, Kylie, when people come in and they're in the theatre, and the theatre is a very different environment for most executives, do people come in and kind of, can you see them sort of like, who's these creative people? What are they going? What am I going to learn from these? What do they know about, spreadsheets?
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's why we don't try to get into any of their topics. We just focus on what we do. We don't ever pretend to be experts in their fields. We're bringing them into our field and giving them an experience
Having
of
said
what
that,
we do.
most of our trainers, I don't know if it's common everywhere, but we do have people from corporate backgrounds and stuff as well. So there's some understanding of what's going on in there. I think that
Especially regional experience. I think
Yeah.
that's important as well.
And on top of that, I know we've been joking about like how people get scared of the theater, but I think some people do appreciate the fact that they've now come into a different environment, and I think
Yeah.
that does help people to let their guard down, learn, and play. And we said play a few times. I think it's the state of play that you want to bring people
Yeah.
into.
And being vulnerable too. I think
Yeah.
a lot of leaders, especially higher executives or C-suite, really struggle to be vulnerable. And our work it's important to be vulnerable and be open and be honest. And that's you're in a state there where you are going to learn and you are going to change.
Yeah, okay. Do you have issues with people that just won't open up? How do you get them to open up?
You know, I think-
mean, you have, clearly. I can tell from your
We've
faces.
honestly in our corporate workshops with our corporate clients, I think we've only ever had one person absolutely refuse and leave, and that's in 13 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just walked out,
Yeah.
wasn't able to do it,
Just-
wouldn't
just
let
would
down the
not.
mask.
And I think
Yeah.
there's a lot more going on
Yeah.
It sounds like
already before. Not that I'm laying the blame on someone else.
No.
But yeah, we do have, I think that's a lot of HR managers' concerns is, well, no, my team, they're really, most of them are introverts. They don't want to do this kind of thing. And we have seen success with almost everybody that have come into the training
Yeah,
room.
I think I'm actually quite confident about that. Not to sound overconfident, but we've done it so much that I 99% of the groups in 15, 20 minutes, we can get them relaxed and going. It's just because we've experienced it over and over that it doesn't faze me anymore if I see people walking in and looking uptight about being in this situation.
It's a great way to spend a day, though, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
A workshop
Yeah.
like this. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Yeah.
much more exciting than, I don't know, going to a seminar.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for sure.
Yeah.
It's very different to that. How important is it, if you're a leader, to have an element of, this is going to sound wrong, overly camp, I don't mean, but how important is it to have some kind of essence of theatricality, do you think? A little bit of the showman as
From
a leader?
their perspective? Oh, back when they're in their jobs?
As a
when
leader
you're
in
at
general,
work, as
yeah.
a leader in general, how important is that?
I think it's incredibly. I mean, look, we're all different, and we can't all have the same level of theatrics or anything.
Yeah.
But I think if you do have that presence, people are more willing to listen to you, and you'll have more influence, and be able to motivate and inspire people more. I mean, we have we have a lot of clients that sometimes have this inspirational theatrical leader, and they always refer back to him. Oh, this is or her. They're like this, and we want our teams to be more like this.
Yeah, and to add on, I think we're not asking them to become change their personality.
Yeah.
But I think that is very important. I think theater allows you to understand emotions better. We are very heavily influenced into storytelling. That's a key concept for us as well. We're trying to put on stories and not just necessarily comedy skits. So I think those two things do lead a lot way in people who are able to take on those aspects of theatrics. Absolutely. And who wants to watch someone standing there speaking like a robot for 30 minutes? I think the opposite is what we should be
I
worried
don't
about.
know. I do
Yeah.
it most days, so it's worked for me. I'll be honest. That's an interesting point, because one of the things. Let me relate it to just this job. So basically, this job is talking, and I'll always say to Faraj before we go on, let's do some talking. But it's a lot more structured than that. So I've structured a kind of an interview, and what I try to do is anticipate, answers so that the questions lead somewhere. So, but I have actual written questions. I haven't used many of them so far, but I've got to get in the routine of doing it. But it interests me that business is so structured in so many ways, but you can't build in too much structure because you can't account for what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen. So something like this kind of emphasizes the fact that sometimes, Kylie, you've got to take the structure out and just react.
Yeah.
Haven't you?
In the moment.
Yeah, you just got to be in
Yeah,
the moment, which is
exactly.
what we don't know because we film everything.
Well, it's a choice though, right? You can choose not to,
Yeah.
but there's a different result you'll get.
Okay.
And I can give you an example from people I've seen do stand up, for example, and they've learned their script.
Yeah.
They've gone on and they'll be like, I will deliver this word for word in this
Right.
way. And then something happens in the room. I've actually seen something fall and there's this huge bang and the whole audience is distracted. And this comic carries on with their script.
Oh, really?
When I did my first ever stand up, I hadn't thought about the fact that people will laugh. So when they did, I was actually angry because I was just like, shut up.
You're
I
throwing
need
me
to get
off."
through. It threw me off, yeah. And I
It could
think,
just be your shtick. That could just be a thing.
shut up, stop laughing.
I'm going to deliver this.
But I think some people, so what we're saying is that you should adapt to it, but some people don't. And what's right or wrong? It's the fact when you don't, you will lose the audience. You will probably walk away feeling some sort of control that, well, I got everything I wanted across, but was it impactful? And that's where the mind shift.
Did you connect?
Yeah. So, for example, what you're saying about your questions, do we need to do all 10 that you've written if it's not, if something better has come out?
Yeah, because what do I do with the questions I haven't used? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
They sit in the ether somewhere? I don't quite,
And I have to
don't know.
remind them
Concerns me.
that I think one of the things that comes up with leaders often is that, well, no one in the audience knows all the slides and everything you have in mind. So no one's going to get up and go, well, Tim, you didn't ask me number 9 and I'm leaving.
I'm checking number 9 now. It's such a good
is.
question. I'm just to spite you, I'm going to go to number
Nice.
9.
I don't know what number 9 is. Could have said any number.
How do you assess the effect of improvisation training? Actually, it fits really well, but it's an important thing, isn't it? You know, can a short session translate into real improvements in terms of sort of leadership communication, methods of, delivery, whatever it is? How do you assess it and how do you quantify it?
That's a battle Kylie faces
It's
every day.
yeah. Look, it is something. It's hard to assess. It really
Yeah,
is. You
yeah.
can't. We don't. We can say, oh, this is what we would like to achieve, but each person is going to walk away with something unique to themselves in their experience. So it is really hard to say, okay, we're going to assess them on these specific criteria. Now, of course, we can do a certain type of assessment for each person and in general as a team to see, they came in like this and they walked away like this.
Yeah.
And on top of that, we do capture their own learnings at the end. And, so we do some reflection. We do actually ask people, what do you want to commit to from these aspects? What really resonated with you? So there are things that we do from our side. But to add, coming back to your question about 90 minutes, that's a battle. I was saying that's a battle Kylie faces often with clients is at least give us a minimum of what's the
3 hours.
3 hours.
Yeah,
please.
that's the like Salman was saying when we started the discussion, we're building a muscle, right? So okay, cool. You can come in for the half day, 3 hours. It's going to be a wonderful day. It's going to be impactful for the team, for them to connect with one another, and hopefully learn a lot about yourself. But the more time you spend on it, the better the impact, the higher the impact, the more. So, we have programs where clients will come back either every couple of months or do a rolling program over a month where they come once a week. And the more time you spend on it, the more you're going to improve. So it's.
Yeah, that is a big aspect of it. But also when we have had to, and there's no other option to do like an hour, 60 or 90 minutes, I think at the very least it's very visible when the team is energized and the way they're speaking to each other, it's transformed. We do see those aspects, and I think they capture it themselves as well. That's the feedback we get.
Yeah.
But other than that, there's, the consultancy stuff. We do feedback. We do send them their reflections to them to measure. And I think possibly that's a challenge the wider training community faces anyway. It doesn't matter who you go to, the ROI and all that gets muddy with human beings in there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not looking to point at, and decry what you do in any way. I just think it's a very difficult thing to do to quantify any form really of corporate training, to be honest with you. And I see value in lots of the trainers that we speak to. There are trainers where I think, I didn't learn a thing. I don't know what you were talking about, and I just don't really understand how that contributes in any way. But I think something like this, that real workshop stuff, to me, means you have to participate.
Absolutely.
You really have to get involved. Otherwise, what on earth is the point? You know, to tick a box to say, well, I attended that seminar, therefore I've done my training for the 6 months.
Yeah.
This is not like that.
Yeah, no. And I think also, you know, when we're talking about leadership teams, especially in this last year, we've been working a lot with a lot more leadership teams. And I think our work also or complements really well a lot of theory-based learning.
Right.
And so we've been partnering with a lot of other learning institutes recently where they'll focus on the theory side of things. And then they bring us in for the more experiential type of things, putting it into practice, getting people to communicate, getting people to connect, building their confidence in a practical environment. And so it pairs really well with if the client has their own theory or their own very specific learnings that they need to.
And also because we cap the numbers, coming back to what you said about it's very interactive. You have to be involved in it. There's a reason why we cap it at that sort of number. We found any more than this, and there are chances people try to hide in the back and stuff. So it's human nature, right? And it's easier and even for one person to lead it. Then there's only so much individual attention you can give to. So that's where we kind of we also have the opposite. We have like the roads here. We have a minimum speed limit as well. So if it's less than a group of 8, we do encourage them to not go into it if they can manage to get at least 8 and more, because it is again a thing you're learning together, and lower than that does also affect the learning sometimes.
How do you build confidence in people? Because there are a lot of people that just don't like to be exposed, don't like being on stage, don't like having to, you know, speak up, make announcements. Perfectly fine one-to-one in front of an audience of what, if you've got 15, 17 of you there, 16 people watching you. That's hard for people. How do you teach?
It is.
That?
I think, again, because of our work, they are in a safer environment in terms of not being put on the spot alone. And some of the games are really great at disguising what you're doing up there. For example, there's a really fun one I love. It's putting 2 hats on people, and we ask you to steal the hat from the other person, but you're also enacting a scene, and you'd be surprised at how much people will be concentrating on that aspect that you could get them to act like anything. I could say you're 2 chickens in the farm, and they'll start going at it.
Yeah.
But it's
They
beautiful.
start clicking.
It's amazing. So it's kind of like finding a distraction for them to do stuff, and then they go back and go, "Wow, I was just concentrating on that, and I was acting up there." So that kind of slowly
And I
builds.
became a chicken at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yes, I think
It's not what I
about
do
the
with leaders,
experience. Well,
unless they want to.
Anyway, it came from somewhere,
Yeah.
the chicken thing. What have I missed? What have I not asked you? Because I've got loads of questions, but to be honest, I can't be bothered with the questions anymore. So
Asking us to improvise.
yeah, I know I'm not supposed to do that at all. How do you see your industry evolving? Because this is clearly something that you love to do. You've done it for a long time. There must be other people doing it in different ways.
Yeah.
What are you going to add, for 2026? That's my obvious question. How's it going to change, really?
How's it
How do
gonna
you see
change?
this changing?
I think, 2025 alone has changed so much, and we have been working with more leaders this year.
Right.
And I think just people having more appreciation and knowing about how the impact of this work, and then it shows because they're bringing their leaders to take part in these kind of workshops. So the appreciation for it has been amazing this year, and I hope that just continues to grow in 2026, and we're able to reach a lot more, because I think there's a couple of people that have taken. We have public corporate workshops as well, and the feedback that we got from one HR leader, she said, more leaders need this kind of work. There are so many people in the C-suite that need this type of
We
work.
get that a lot, though.
I can imagine that.
Yeah.
And I think the other aspects for I don't know if your question was about growth from us within or
In
what we're
general.
looking at in terms of clients coming in.
It wasn't that thought through, to be honest with you. I'd love to say it was, but
Right.
it was just it was really where's your
I think
industry
personally, we in our thing, I think, like Kylie said, we've been helped by the fact that more and more people know about the work. 13 years ago, we had to kind of go improv, improve, no, improv.
Yeah.
So we started from
Learn
there.
to
So-
spell.
It's been an uphill battle, yeah.
yeah, and I think that has helped. So, but I think what we've been trying to grow at is the aspect of coaching. The facilitators need to get better at because you can have these awesome exercises and the concept of improv, but now internally we're working on ourselves to go. When we're working with the leaders, how are we making it more relatable to them? How are we managing them differently, their expectations, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of investment that we've actually kind of put into that part to improve. In terms of the overall leadership thing, I think we are actually really well positioned because there's the AI stuff, and I think that will become, there's tech, and that will become about information. But leaders more and more will be judged by how they manage and handle people now, and I think that's what's going to separate good leaders from everybody else. You actually do need to stand out as a creative person, to be adaptable, to be able to pivot, and those people will be the ones leading stronger in 2026 and so on.
Yeah, because people don't leave companies, do they? People leave bad managers, bad leaders.
I love that statement.
Yeah,
I find
it's
that's
true though.
It is.
It is true.
Kylie's been good. That's
So people need you, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's a backhanded compliment for you,
yes,
Salman.
thank you.
Thanks.
Take the win you get. One final question.
I wasn't listening to it.
I know. Well, I started with Kylie, so I'm going to finish with you, Salman. I'm just interested in comedy because clearly that's your kind of stand-up has given you, I guess it's given you confidence amongst other things to get on stage. But how did you learn? When did you learn? Did you learn? Are you funny? How did I think you are. How did that all come together?
I was actually bored. So I got to a point, I was in L&D and stuff, and I got to a point where my friends around me got married and had kids, and I was kind of left alone. I was like, what do I do? So I was in Connecticut, I remember. I walked into a open mic and was terrible at it, and luckily no one I knew was around to watch it, and I went.
What made you do it?
It was just watching. I went to a comedy show, and then I went. Actually, there was another comic that I saw do it from my country, and I went, "Oh, this is something other people in the world can do."
Yeah.
It was bizarre. It was
From
just this
my
concept
country.
of but it was because it was something I watched on TV, and for me, yeah, so it was like, oh, we're allowed to do this too. And I know it sounds bizarre, but it actually was. I think that's where representation matters. But I watched it, and then I happened to be there. I watched the live show, and then I went, you know what? Let me have a go. People, I like joking around, and I was terrible at it for the first time.
It's brave though to give it.
It was. It was easier that I knew no one would ever know I've done this.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't admit to it till 13 years. Tim, I'm now
Right.
telling people the world through your.
I'm sorry to reinforce.
No.
that.
I think that's what got me into it. And then I did workshops. I got involved. There was a stand-up community starting off in Dubai at that time. So it was the good thing about starting comedy here was there was a lot of opportunity. And if you go to open mics in more mature markets, you'll be performing to 3-4 people, and most of them are comics as well. It's quite sad. And over here, I was my third gig in. I was performing to 40-50 people in the room. So I got thrown into the deep end, and I think that helped develop it much quicker as well. So I was lucky that way over here.
Sink or
It's
swim,
interesting.
I suppose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know,
Literally.
I've really enjoyed talking to you both. Kylie Schultz leads the Courtyard Playhouse's Corporate Academy. Good to see you, thank you.
Thank you so much, Tim. It was wonderful to chat to you.
Good to talk to you. And Salman Qureshi is a lead corporate facilitator. What's that, by the way?
She defined it. I just went with lead, and I thought it was a lead role. So
Okay, so Salman is a lead actor and comedian. There you go.
Thanks, Tim.
Appreciate talking to you. Thank you for coming here, both of you.
Our pleasure.
It's
Thank
good
you
to
so
have you
much.
here. This is Mira Business FM.